Friday night sound session with John Moore and DJ Hyphen on KUBE 93.
Speak a little bit about the chemistry, like, you know, in the studio with you and the Neptunes and Pharrell and Chad, and how did you guys craft songs, and which songs did you decide, you know, to keep, put tracks on, verses on, choruses on, just what was kind of the creative process like?
Well, you know, a lot of times Pharrell can come in the studio with ideas about what direction he wants to go, and then, you know, I'm an artist that I'd sit up and I'd be like, man, I want to do this and try this. So he would take in that information and then just start creating some music. And from there, Chad might come in and start adding some layers to it, you know, from the key perspective, from melodic perspectives. And then Pharrell he almost all the time is coming up with the hook. And you can build, you know, me being a writer too, I'm going to build on the hook with him and say, okay, well, maybe I'll say this and we can say this. And it was that type of collaboration, and we both felt that spark. Like he told me later, like, man, thanks for pushing me, you know, and really also allowing him to take the music to like different, like, you can experiment with me. Like, I'm that type of artist that, like, we can go wherever you want, and like, and I'm gonna try it if it sounds right, you know. So I think he was pleased with that, and so was Chad, and they was just like, every time, even we had some like announcement, I'd be like, man, we got to take it to the future still. It got to sound, you know, the future. And then we come add more layers to it. So that was really pretty much the process.
Cool.
Yeah, the single, Universal Mind Control itself, title track now, is insane. When you first heard that beat, what was your reaction?
I was like, man, this beat is incredible. Like, oh my God, what? Like, I walked in the studio because he had did some drums to it, and then the next day I walked in the studio, and that's when Chad had added that beat. I was like, oh, I came in, and Pharrell's like, yo, I got the best. Like, before I even heard, he's like, I got something for you that's just, it's gonna blow you out of the world. And I was just like, you know, it's that reaction. Like, it's certain times, and I've reached this with pretty much all the producers I worked with, Jay Dilla or Kanye, or they make certain music where you like, man, thank you, God, this is overwhelming, like, so good, it's so good. And that's how I felt about UMC. And I also was sitting there thinking, like, man, how I'm going to rap to it? I got to figure out how to rap to this, because it was like, you know, that beat is probably about 110 beats per minute, 115, something like that. So I had to figure out, you know, how to rap, and just, that's one of the challenges that I love, though, like, about it, is like, how, you know, rapping to different rhythms and different,
how you gonna attack them? Yeah,
and that's, you know, this album for me, I was like wanting to style and just be like, you know, style and just sway with it sometimes. So, you know,
that's the swag.
Yeah,
exactly. Like, they need to do whatever they can to manipulate it so that we got this race all the way to the finish line.
Exactly, and you know, that's what they're about. They really will, and I think, you know, obviously we suffer as people for that. They will sacrifice a lot of things for ratings.
Truth.
Yeah, basically.
Namely, the truth.
Yeah, the truth. Yeah, exactly.
If you, hypothetically speaking, were president, what would be one of the first changes or policy changes that you'd implement or put into effect?
I'm a believer in spirituality, so I would try to issue in something that's like dealing in schools that would teach kids about spiritual things that I felt like would help their lives, that would give them a foundation to function with in life. Like, because I feel like that's been the biggest key to me sustaining myself just as a human being, has been, you know, my spirituality. And it would be something that I feel like if we were able to share that would create a certain, like, oneness in everybody. And that means not forcing a religion on somebody.
Yeah, so still keep the separation.
Yeah,
it's different from religion, spirituality.
Spirituality. It would be almost offering them choices, like, and letting them understand what spirituality is about, and saying, okay, well, I may have a difference in this. This person may be Jewish, or this person may be a Christian. This person may be Muslim. But you know what? We still got similarities, so I'm gonna pay attention to the similarities instead of the differences, you know, to help us, everybody grow. So that's what I would do. And then too, you know, definitely focus on the educational system, because the more educated we are, you know, the better we can do in life. And man, I also obviously want people to get jobs, man. It's like, damn,
No doubt.
people, it's tough out there, man.
Speaking of education, a lot of just the general population and hip hop heads specifically don't know that you've also released 3 children's books.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So what made you decide to do that in the first place, and what have you learned about yourself through writing those books for children?
Well, the children's books, I came with that idea from, actually it was a program that this woman was doing who wanted to use hip-hop artists to write children's books, but it never, you know, really came into fruition. So I continued to just write my books, and like my stories would come from, I would take adult stories and just break them down into a children's world, you know. So I felt like, man, when I write these children's books, I want it to be a book that a 10-year-old could relate to, and somebody 38 might look at it and be like, man, that story hit them in the heart too. You know, like, I wanted it to be that universal, how when people see Lord of the Rings, it's like kids that relate to it and adults. And my children's books deal with self-esteem and love for self, and I, like I said, those are things that I feel that, like, man, as a kid, if you get that in the foundation, I'm saying you're gonna have no problems, but you know, we taught to love ourselves. That's a beautiful thing. That's at times more significant than knowing what 3 + 8 is. I mean, you're gonna need that too. But, yeah, but you know, self-love is important.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right, before we let you go, we gotta talk a little bit about the movie stuff. You're in the upcoming Terminator movie. A couple years ago, when you're watching the original ones, did you ever think that you would be in a Terminator movie?
Man, I didn't even think I would be in a movie, to be honest. I was going to movie. I've always been a movie watcher.
Yeah.
And I never even pictured myself. I never seen myself acting, you know, like it was, like I said, it came about just from me being like, man, I'm like, yo, I want to do something new. I need to do something new. And like I said, man, I want to continue to be an artist in my life. I like being an artist and expressing myself. You know, what else will I do that I love that I can do for the future? But me being in Terminator, I'm like, man, I'm so grateful, man. I was sitting there like, dang, I'm in this movie. Like, this is a legacy, you know, like the Terminator's history. Like,
Are you one of them?
No, I'm fighting with the Resistance, you know, who fights against the machines. And John Connor, who's played by Christian Bale.
Yeah, Batman, of course.
Yeah, Batman, yeah. I'm like his right-hand man. My character's name is Barnes. And it's really, really progressive how they approaching the Terminator Salvation. That's the name of the 4th one. It's because you can see the different cultures in it. Like, you know, they got a black dude up there fighting with the Resistance. It's a Asian woman who's part of the Resistance, and it's like, but it's done organically. It don't feel like we tried to do a Benetton, you know, all the colors of the world thing. It's more like, yo, these are real people that existed during this post-apocalyptic world. So I'm very excited, man. It's like the film looks like it's incredible from what I've seen. McG directed it, and
it's gonna be big, man. So, and then also the Justice League stuff. You say you haven't started filming that yet?
Nah, like that movie has been on hold, so we don't know when it's gonna happen.
All right,
but
that needs to happen, man.
God willing, it happen. I was so excited to be Green Lantern, so let's hope, you know, hopefully it'll go down. I believe it will, though.